Hi guys, welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be explaining to you how you can progress in strength movements. So just like progress in your weight and make sure that you are progressing properly and at a good speed. So for this video, I'm just going to be focusing on one movement as an example, but you can apply these tips to any move, and yeah, let's just get into it. So the move I'm going to be focusing on is hip thrusts, just because that move is one that I have been focusing on increasing my weight in, and I have done pretty well in doing so. So I'm just going to be explaining how I did that and proper tips to increase your strength. And I just want to point out, you don't have to only focus on one move to increase your strength, and you can focus on multiple moves in your workouts. Just like I was really focused on my hip thrusts here, so that's why I said that. So where I started with hip thrusts, I just had a barbell, and then I had two 10-pound weights on the side. So that is 65 pounds, and that was back in July, and it is currently October 29th. So July, August, September, October, 4 months. So in 4 months, I was able to increase my weight to 225 pounds that I'm hip thrusting. So I went from 65 to 225 pounds in 4 months. I feel like that's pretty good. Haven't done my hip thrust this week, so I think I'm going to increase it again. I see it happening. So yeah, we will try our best to increase that again.
So I did in fact bump up my hip thrust PR this week. It's now at 245 pounds.
So I remember setting a goal for 140 pounds in August to reach that by the end of August. And when I did that, I was like, wow, this is crazy. I'm lifting so much weight. And now I lift 225, gonna increase it this week. So I think that is a pretty big difference. And it just goes to show that having my goal at 140 and now I'm just increasing it even more, don't let your mind stop you from what your body can do. I know that is a big thing sometimes, and I think that's why I started so low with my weight, because I was like, no, I can't lift that much. I don't think so. I let my mind take over what my body could actually do. So don't doubt yourself. But again, I'm going to give you tips so that you don't injure yourself and be like, yeah, I can lift tons of weight, and then put it on and then you injure yourself. So just follow these tips and you'll be good. So the first tip I have is, if you're into weight training, you should have a workout split for 4 to 6 weeks and then switch it up. So basically what a workout split is say Monday I do legs, and so every Monday for the 4 to 6 weeks I would do the same leg workout. And then so for Tuesday, say I do a pull day with my arms, I would do that same pull day workout for the 4 to 6 weeks, and then I would do a different leg day on Wednesday for the 4 to 6 weeks, etc. It just goes on for the week. It should be 5 days of workouts, 2 rest days is good, so you don't need to be working out too much. But that is a good workout split. You should be sticking to one for 4 to 6 weeks. That is just so you can progress in the movements. So having the same movements every Monday, I can progress in that. So say I had my hip thrusts on Mondays, every Monday I would be focusing on those hip thrusts, and I would have enough time to focus on those in a big chunk for the 4 to 6 weeks before I switch up my workouts. So that just ensures that you would be actually working on that move but not overdoing it, the moves that you want to progress in. And if you want to progress in multiple moves, you would have your main compound lifts, which are deadlifts, back squats, any move like that at each workout, so that you're not overdoing it. And yeah, that is just a tip I have. And the first thing besides the workout split is you want to make sure you have proper form for your movements. So you need to have the proper form before you can start increasing your weight. This is very important. I can't stress this enough. If you don't have the proper form, you will not be activating the proper muscles to get the change and results that you want. So you need to be focusing on your form. And so say you don't know how to have proper form, you don't know what it is, there's tons of YouTube videos, there's tons of things you can look up on Instagram or Google. You can literally just Google what's the form of this, and it'll give you form cues. If you watch like a tutorial on YouTube, that is very good. And another way to see if you have proper form, because you could like feel like you're doing it right and then still not be the best, is record yourself. I know it might feel weird to record yourself, but once you record yourself and watch it back, you can see what you're doing wrong and like compare it to like a form tutorial video that you watched and see how they're doing it, so that you can like correct yourself next time. So that is so helpful. Recording myself has changed my form like crazy. My form has just gotten so much better, and once you have the proper form, you can then start increasing your weight, and it'll be easier to increase your weight because you're actually doing the move the way it is intended. Okay, so now you have the form down. Now you can start implementing progressive overload. So progressive overload can be multiple things that you are progressing in. So it could be either the weight, the tempo, the frequency, the reps and sets. So I think most of those are pretty self-explanatory, but I'm going to go in detail with the weights. Tempo examples are like for hip thrusts, you can hold at the top for 3 seconds and then lower down, or like you can do a 1-1-3 tempo, so that's going up for 1 second and then holding for 1 second and going down for 3 seconds. So just like switching it up that way. And so now moving on to like focusing on progressive overload with weight, because that is what I do the most. So like I said, weight is the main progression I focus on personally. So you don't want to be lifting the same weight every single set, every single week for your whole workout split. You want to be seeing an increase in your weight. Like I don't want to stay at 100 pounds, let's just say, hip thrusting for the whole 4 to 6 weeks, because I won't be getting the full benefits and reaching my full potential with lifting the weights. Yes, I would be still getting like some benefits, but I wouldn't be getting the whole benefit as I would if I were to increase my weight. So a good rule to follow to know when you should start increasing your weight is the 2 for 2 rule. So that is, if you can do your PR for 2 sets in a row for 2 workouts in a row, then you should increase your weight. This just ensures that you're not staying stagnant at the same weight for too long, and that you're not trying to overdo it so you won't get injured. So if you can do the 2 for 2 rule, then you know it's good to increase your weight. And how much weight kind of just depends on how much you should increase. If you feel really good about it, you can bump it up a little, but like typically for arms, you would add either the 2.5 pound, like if this is a barbell move, you would add 2.5 pounds, or you could add 5 pounds. If it's legs, you can do 10 pounds. So it kind of just depends on where you're at, how you're feeling, but definitely do not try to like load on like a crazy amount of weight when you bump it up. Take it slowly, see how it feels. So currently how I implement progressive overload into my individual sets and my workouts is I start out with an acclimation set. So an acclimation set is like doing the move without any weight. So like for hip thrust, I would just be using the barbell only, and I would just be doing like a normal amount of reps for that set that I would be doing. So this just gets the body like ready for that specific move, wakes up the muscles, gets everything activated. So it is good to do that, and it just makes sure that you're like in check with your form. So I would do 1 to 2 acclimation sets, and those are separate from your actual sets in your workout. So like the actual sets in your workout are your working sets. So once you do the 1 to 2 acclimation sets, and you only need to do acclimation sets for like compound movements, so you don't need to do them for like isolation movements or anything like that. But this movement you do. Well, you don't have to, but I recommend doing it. And so when you move into your working sets, that is when you start adding the weight on. So I usually do 6 reps total, and I normally do 3 to 4 sets depending on my workout split. But some workouts, it kind of ranges. Sometimes I'll do 4 sets and I'll do only 4 reps. Sometimes I'll do 10 reps. I don't go above 10 reps though, and I don't go below 4 reps. So I'm in that range, but typically it is around 6 reps that I do for 4 sets. And so when I do only 4 reps, it is easier for me to load on that weight. just because you're moving for less time. But that isn't saying you can't hit like PRs when you do higher rep ranges, because I hit my 225 PR when I did a 10 rep range. So don't let like the increase in reps, say for a workout split, deter you from trying to push that weight. So in my working sets, I usually try to increase my weight after each individual set. So I do my first set, and then I want to bump up the weight, and then I keep bumping it up until I'm done. Sometimes that doesn't always happen. It kind of just depends on how you're feeling. So sometimes I'll have to stick at the same weight for 2 sets in a row and then bump it up, or I'll end at my last 2 sets at the same weight. It just is depending on how you're feeling.
So here's an example of a working set. I started out with 8 reps for 155 pounds because I knew that was a good like warm-up set for me. And I knew I wanted to aim for going above my PR of 225, so I then bumped it up to 205 for 8 reps to see how I was feeling. And then I was feeling pretty good, so I decided to go for 235. And during that, I felt like I could go even more, and I was only supposed to do 3 sets of hip thrusts that day. That's what I had planned, but I added a 4th set because I was feeling so strong that day. And so I adjusted my workout, and I was able to hit a PR of 245 pounds. So just keep pushing if you're feeling strong.
So yeah, that is a good way to implement progressive overload into your workouts. So now moving on, another tip is to do variations of a move. So for hip thrust, that would be single leg hip thrust with like a dumbbell, or I could do B stance hip thrust, I could do banded hip thrust, just all variations of a move that is still working the same muscles, but it is a little bit different. And the single leg hip thrust will help with any imbalances, so it will just help my overall hip thrust. So these are all like supplemental moves to help with the big move. So I recommend adding in variations of your moves. So say for one workout you do your hip thrust, and the next leg day you would do B stance hip thrusts. So you wouldn't do them necessarily in the same workout, although you could. Like sometimes they'll add banded hip thrusts as superset with like a hip thrust. So yeah, those are just ways that you can add them in. So like to transfer this to another move would be like if you're doing overhead presses with a barbell, maybe you would just do single arm dumbbell presses. This can transfer to so many different moves. So and if you don't know variations of a move, you can just Google like what's a variation of this move. Deadlifts, single leg deadlifts, Romanian deadlifts, so many moves. So those are just like a big tip to do variations of a move. And the last tip I have for increasing your strength is to track your progress. Now, I know many people may not track their progress. They just go to the gym, do their thing, and then leave. But tracking your progress has so much more to do than like seeing how far you've come and stuff like that. It literally helps you make sure you're on task with increasing your weight each week. So I don't remember what I lifted last week for like my moves. I have it written down, so when I go to do that move again, I know what I did the previous week for my all my sets and reps. That is just like how you keep track and how you can apply the 2 for 2 rule, so you know, oh, I did this for 2 workouts in a row for 2 sets, so now I can bump up my weight. So tracking your progress is great for that. It is also great for just seeing how far you've come because it helps keep you motivated. Like looking back at my old hip thrust videos or any of my videos, I'm like, what? Oh, by the way, I record myself to keep track of my progress and also write it down in an app. There's other ways you can track your progress besides those. Video is a really good one though, but you may not want to record yourself in a gym, but I say do it because that is really just going to help you. It's going to help you perfect your form too and help you see like the physical changes. But you could keep a journal, you can write it down in your notes app. Those are just some great ways to keep track of your progress. So those are just some tips I have for increasing your strength and progressing in movements. You can apply these tips to any movement. I hope you found this video helpful and you can apply these tips to your workouts, and I'll see you in the next video.